is going on? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Turbo Mustang build. I think this is part 13. I am losing the parts, losing my mind, but the Mustang is coming along quite nicely, if I could say so myself. So, had to pick up some 3/8 hose, some clamps, some heat wrap, and a couple other odds and ends. I swear, I'm telling you, every day I go to the auto parts store. This is what happens when you build your own kit, but it's totally worth it. Very custom and very unique. Only kit like it out there. Anyways, so tonight we've got to actually mount the overflow tank. We've got to make a bracket for it so that can be set and not move. We've got to redo a couple of the coolant lines because we just kind of had them hooked up last night just so that we could get the car started and see if anything was leaking. We've got to also drain that oil, put some fresh oil in it. We've got to put the coolant in it. I bought a bunch of coolant to bring over. Brought the heat wrap, so we'll be actually taking the exhaust downpipe off and heat wrapping that because it's kind of close to the intake pipe that comes off the throttle body, and it's kind of close to a coolant hose, and we don't want to have any problems there. So we're going to heat wrap the exhaust, heat wrap one of the coolant pipes that are coolant hoses that's not actually heat wrapped yet, and just kind of like little odds and ends. We were starting to look at some of the codes the car was throwing last night. Obviously it's throwing a bunch of codes because all the stuff that we added and then all the stuff that we removed. We only have one of the 4 O2 sensors hooked up because that's what Lund wants. So some of the codes, obviously they're going to be there because we don't have stuff hooked up. But there's a couple other codes that we would need to kind of diagnose. There's a couple wiring codes, and we just want to make sure that we hooked up all the wiring correctly and there's no problem. So those things we can kind of diagnose now, get them out of the way. That way when we actually tune, hopefully in the next week or two, we don't run into any issues. So I will see you guys over at Joseph's. All right. So
welcome back.
So we got
to the channel. Hey, you didn't put that in yesterday's video.
Yeah, that's going up tonight.
Oh, is it going?
We're a day behind.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll just cut this out.
So we got the downpipe and some black heat wrap. Unfortunately, we have to cover Joe's beautiful welds, but we do need to protect all the heat that's going to be coming from the car. He's pretty pissed because look at those. My goodness, those are nice. So we did get some black heat wraps, so it actually looked pretty decent in there, but I really didn't want to cover the tip, but sometimes you got to put the tip away. So here's the downpipe all wrapped up. We had to leave it down here because this part's going to go through the hood. Obviously it doesn't look that good. The welds look a lot better, but we got to stop some of the heat from coming out of the car. So, Joe, what do you think? I think it's ugly.
Yeah. I mean, the pipe looked better, but
yeah,
you got to wrap it.
Sucks.
Later.
didn't like that. Alright guys, so we heat wrapped the downpipe. Got that all taken care of. We also wrapped this coolant pipe just because it gets, or coolant hose, it gets a little close to that downpipe. We mounted the overflow coolant tank, which came out really clean. And then we ran this line all the way back through here. We actually drilled a hole and put a rubber grommet around it to protect it, and ran it all the way through the fender line and then brought it back here, so it really cleaned up all the lines instead of having it just hanging over all this stuff. Ran the vacuum lines from the wastegates, ran the vacuum line blow-off valve. But yeah, it came out super clean. It's pretty much done. We're just gonna work through a couple things. We've got a code that it's throwing, possibly from some of the wiring we did. We don't know for sure, so we're gonna look at that.
Oh, it's guaranteed.
Joseph says it's guaranteed. We may have, I don't know what we may have done. There's a couple sensors on these wires, so one may not be exactly where it's supposed to be. Who knows? But we'll figure that out. There was a couple other codes. We actually figured those out. There's this little vacuum block type deal, and we tried to delete that because it looked a lot cleaner, but it was throwing a brake booster, because this goes to the brake booster. It's throwing a brake booster code, so we actually put that back in, and then we capped off some stuff. I still got to hook up my oil catch can, which I'll probably do next week when I get back. So we've got those ports. They're just open right now. No big deal because we're not driving the car. We just got to add some coolant to it, but the turbo kit itself is 100% done, I'd say, right? 100% done, right?
I think it is 100%.
The turbo kit itself.
Done.
So huge shout out to Joseph. He killed it. Everything lines up so perfectly. The only thing that bugs me is the radiator hose that I built. It's just that shield on it is chrome. I couldn't find any black tape, but we're going to rebuild that eventually, so there'll be a video coming on that in a couple weeks or something when we want to do little upgrades. So next from here, we got to hook up the boost controller, which I have here. Electronic boost controller. And just start working on the fuel system, and then it's ready to tune. But man, the turbo kit came out freaking awesome. I got to get a little turbo guard, a little screen for that guy, turbo blanket to protect, just try and keep as much heat in as possible, just keep it away from all this stuff. But man, Joseph freaking killed this turbo kit. Do you see the symmetry and the welds? My goodness. Huge shout out to Joseph. You really outdid yourself. It looks amazing. And now it's about to gap a Trans Am.
Oh, shoot.
First call out of the year. Car's not even tuned. I'm calling people out. Just kidding. But yeah, it came out super clean. I'm really happy with it. What is going on? It's DVV Nightly Recap. The turbo kit is done. It's so crazy to see it all come together. Like, I can't wait to... I don't ever go back and watch my videos, but I kind of want to go back and just remember how tough the beginning of this turbo kit was. I mean, we went through some huge hurdles in the beginning, but once we got past, you know, some of those big hurdles, we really started making way on this turbo kit, and it's so cool how it all came together. If you guys haven't, you can go back and see all those videos. I'm gonna make like a little playlist so that if people want to go back and watch some of the turbo build and what went into it, if people want to build their own kit, is definitely not for the faint of heart. It's definitely not easy, but with the massive amounts of help from Joseph, we were able to get it done. I mean, he really did an awesome job on that intercooler piping, and the way we mounted the intercooler and the overflow coolant tank, and some of the things that I would have issues on, you know, like, he really came through and helped me out. And man, I cannot thank him enough for what he did. Make sure you follow him at Streetcar Joe on Instagram. So cool of him to be willing to help me out and do all that stuff for me. And man, it looks killer. I love it. I love the way it came out, and knowing that no one will have that same kit really makes me happy. So hopefully you guys are enjoying these videos. Now it's pretty much time. I mean, we've got one code to figure out with the alternator, which is probably has to do with some of the wiring that we did. So we just got to figure that out, and then we can start installing the fuel system, and then we can start tuning. Oh man, I can't wait to see what this car can do with this turbo system on it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you always comment, like, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and Snapchat, Vanvy39. We'll see you guys on the next one.